Square Enix themselves came out and said that, or they announced that they are working towards a permanent work from home policy that will apply to, in the next month, they estimate, 80% of their workforce will be working from home and have the ability to work from home on a permanent basis moving forward within a month's time. I like it. I like it because I think it makes sense, and it makes sense, I think, for a lot of, obviously, industries that are computer-based at this point, especially if you're in a country like Japan where internet is, like, flows like water.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of whatever.
Our
internet depends on where you live, may or may not flow like water. But yeah, I think that's in an ideal world, and I think we're going there anyway. It's just that the pandemic accelerated the fuck
100%.
out of it. I think my hope is, I doubt it is because it's the North American mindset for the workforce, but my hope is that it would result in understanding that people don't need to necessarily work 8-hour days to accomplish what the employer thinks in an office space needs to be done in an 8-hour day, and that just having them be there for 8 hours doesn't actually result in more work getting done overall. And like every study that has ever been done has shown it's the complete fucking opposite of that, where people are less likely to accomplish the same amount of work given more time in the workplace versus having more time at home. Like, you knock your work hours down a bit, or you increase vacation time, and all of a sudden productivity just fucking like goes through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things, and like being in the real estate world, it's talked about quite a bit, and I've been doing a ton of research on the implications of people working from home. I mean, it's obviously record high right now.
Out of necessity. Yeah.
It's a necessity in a lot of cases. And a lot of business owners are realizing that they don't need a brick and mortar.
No.
They don't need to spend $10,000, in some cases $50,000 a month
in rent
on retail space, in office space. And unless you work in industrial market where you need the square footage, for whatever reason. But a lot of these things, call centers, just regular office space for accountants and just your everyday banking people, not the tellers, but like just in general, they're either going to be, some businesses are going to be able to eliminate that cost up front, and which is going to be good for the business because that a lot less overhead. Employees are going to be able to claim office space and get more write-offs and benefits from being at home. There's a lot of benefits, and studies show that people are actually going to be more productive and are more productive working from home than they actually are in an office space. There obviously are going to be, fuck boys that'll fucking do no work and get fired.
And then you fire them. Yeah.
Then you get fired because ultimately, people think, working from home is like being in high school and doing school from home and online classes. How exciting. I can play lots of video games. Listen, people can still watch their Twitch streams and their podcast and work from home and get just as much or more work done than sitting in a fucking cubicle where they hate their lives. They feel like they're fucking crammed and they don't want to be there to begin with. And they're already checked out. They can't take those mental breaks. They have people breathing down their fucking necks and backs all the time. They're just going to be a lot of people. The ones that you want to keep are actually going to do more work from home than what they will at the office. It's just facts. But there will be some negative kickback on if and it's not if, inevitably when this happens. Number one, there's going to be a lot of empty commercial real estate. A lot of people are going to have to sell.
It'll get converted into fucking apartments and condos and shit.
If it's possible, yep. If the zoning allows for it and it's possible, and people can get creative, absolutely. But also it's also going to hurt the economy in terms of businesses in the areas, because a lot of people
less traffic,
less gas, People are going to be buying cars a lot less, which is going to be great for their pockets because they're not going to be
The environment's going to love it.
The environment's going to absolutely love it. But the economy, the restaurants, the everyday of just being out and spending money is going to drop immensely, big time. And I'm not saying that people will not go online and buy some of the things that they need, which they will. Online sales are already going through the roof, and they'll continue to do that. But there is going to be a trade-off, and there are going to be businesses that are going to suffer from it, and then there are going to be businesses that are going to thrive from it. So yeah, I'm with you on this. I think it's amazing. I don't know why developers and stuff don't already have 80% of their employees working at home. I mean, super worst case.
Well, honestly, it's a lot of people don't have a computer that's good enough to do it, or internet, or the knowledge to do that shit.
Yeah. I would say, like, it'd be as far as a company going, listen, this is the type of computer that you need in a workstation, and then they supply that for the employee, and they have to upkeep that. They're responsible for that, and that is your workstation. This is your, it's like a tool, your tool belt, and all of your materials that you go to a job to do construction. You got to take care of your tools, and if you can't afford to buy those tools and you don't have those, say if you're like a freelancer, you're expected to have those things, right?
Yeah.
But if you're working for a big company, and say I were to just go and become an electrician and I don't have any of the stuff, a lot of companies will provide you for that equipment because you're working for that company. It's going to be this sort of the same thing. These are the specs that you need to get. Hey, if you already got it, hey, that's great for you. Maybe you're one up on that job application. Hey, we don't have to pay $8,000 for
some of them give you a kickback, a little bit of the money that would have gone to you anyway. They'll say, if you already have it, but maybe you want a little bit more, we'll give you $500 to upgrade your space to make it even better than it already is at home. Because ultimately, if it was somebody who didn't have anything, they're spending like $2,500 on the shit.
Way more.
To make it happen. Because even if an employee is at the office, they still have to spend the money to have the equipment for the person that's there. So
Correct.
With the only difference being if there was turnover in that position, the new person can use the same equipment where it's not necessarily going to be the case. But we're getting to a point in time, especially by the time this comes around in the next few years. I mean, our government, for example, is working on making internet available low cost nationwide.
Yeah.
We're getting to a point where, and our age group, Generation Z and those coming after them, everyone's gonna know how to fucking do all this shit blindfolded. It's not like any shift. It will be retraining for people who are already in the system on the back end. But that's us. That's you and me. And people who are in, like, let's say they're 45, 50 years old, and even they, for a lot of people, are already still savvy enough that if they just get walked through it a few times, they're usually okay. They can make it work. But we're swiftly approaching a point where the people that are left in the workforce that would be applying for and doing these jobs are already going to know what they're doing, and it's not really going to be a huge hurdle.
It's funny. You call, say you're having technical difficulties with your internet. Now, you called that 10 years ago, and I'm sure when they ask questions like, is your Ethernet cable plugged into your modem?
Yeah.
Have you tried turning it off and turning it on? Have you, these really basic things where people will go, oh shit, no, I didn't try that. Now when you call, you're like, dude, I've done a speed test. I know where my Ethernet cable is. I know the type of modem thing I have here. I know where I'm getting my drops at. I know that I'm getting packet loss here. I know this is happening. People already it's like we're so more educated on how this shit works that it is so much easier to get people in 2020. This could have happened 3-4 years ago, honest to God.
Yeah.
It's just now that businesses were basically forced their hand. And I think begrudgingly, a lot of the big corporations were like, I really don't trust our employees to get work done at home, because ultimately they think that nobody's going to do work. They're going to watch TV. They're going to wake up when they want to wake up. And some will. This will be, I'm going to tell you right now, the lazy are going to get fucking crushed in this industry now. The whiners and the complainers that can't put out a resume and they're actually expected to be held accountable. I mean, you know how hard it is to stay self-motivated and be held accountable when nobody is breathing down your back. Now, obviously, there'll be an overlord to some degree, and you'll have to show that you're doing some sort of work. And
it's not exactly the same as freelancing. They're still going to be watching your shit. Yeah.
They're still going to be watching your stuff. But, it is very, very easy to just stay in bed that extra 20 minutes, that 30 minutes, that extra hour, to take that extra long break.
You know what the craziest thing that I heard so far is in this discussion is that there are groups of people, businessmen. Who was it? Fuck, who was it that specifically said this? Chat might know, but they said that with the advent of work from home being so big and not having to drive to work and the extra time saved driving to work, that there should be a tax on working from home on the people that work from home. And I just sat and I stopped. Well, I read that headline and I went.
I saw that too. I saw that on Twitter, I think.
Yeah. I commented on it. I said, "What kind of fucking up your ass millionaire came up with that idea?" Because it's a rich fuck who is well to do beyond imagination that somehow in their sick fucking weird world would think that just because somebody no longer has to sit in an hour and a half to 2 hours plus of traffic every day, that they should be taxed for staying at home. How fucking crazy!
They're crazy.
Fucking concept is that?
The employee should be benefiting from being at home. Less gas, maybe no car, less eating out, less of everything, and more of actually just getting the work done. Less noise, less staying in traffic for an hour or two, and literally wasting 2-3 hours of your day, 6-7 days a week or 5 days a week, depending on what you're working. Imagine how much more free time you would have.
But Jeff, here's the thing.
Mentally, just mentally.
In North America, the moment that you mention to an employer free time,
they hate it.
They go, that's time that you could be working for us.
No, fuck you. Fuck you. I drive 2 hours a day, an hour back and forth. I sit in traffic and listen to that same stupid fucking radio channel that plays the same 6 songs for 2 hours in the run of a day. And sometimes when the traffic's bad or there's an accident, I'm there for 4 hours. And you mean to tell me that that you got a problem with me having an extra 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours of family time, of me time, of maybe getting in shape and working out, maybe sleeping that extra hour in the morning so I don't have to get up at 5 a.m. to make it to this shit fucking job? Are they on? You want to tax me on that? Are you fucking high out of your goddamn mind, you fucking prick? That is so ludicrous. You know how much better an employee will work when they're not fucking tired to all fuck and they actually can sleep a little longer and feel like a human being? Do you know how much more productive they're going to be for your business? Now, the fucking lazy pricks, those guys are going to get fired. Those are the bad apples. Get rid of them. Reward the ones that are actually going to improve and make more money for your business. It's insane.
Look, working for a company is as simple as in today's world, everything is a project, right? Project managers, whatever. It all comes down to deadlines and hitting targets. If as an employee you are hitting your targets, the amount of hours it took you to do that shouldn't matter.
Shouldn't matter.
You are being paid to do your job well. If you're doing your job well and you can do it in 4 hours instead of 8 hours for somebody else sitting in a fucking office, great.
Yep.
You did your work. That doesn't mean that the company gets to slap an extra 4 hours of work on your plate just because you were efficient and good at your job. But that's the North American fucking mentality. It's the same reason why over here, when you get a job, it's like, how much vacation time do we get? 2 weeks, if you're lucky. And you've got to schedule those fucking vacation days like 6 months in fucking advance because everyone wants the same vacation time. And it's 2 fucking weeks. How abysmal is 2 weeks of vacation time? And then you work for usually if you work for a company, it's like 5 to 10 years, including the government in some instances, to get your extra week of fucking pay of vacation time.
don't miss it at all, bro.
It's insane.
It's the corporate.
I hear and this is not a slight on our European friends, but the Brits, the tea drinkers in chat right now, Shady and Foxy, my lovely mods. I hear them sometimes complain about work and like how crazy it is, and it's not that work can get crazy, but then they're like, yeah, I'm just taking next week off, and I'm like, what do you mean? It's like June. What do you mean you're taking a week off? You only have to. How much vacation time do you have? And then I remember they're in Europe, where vacation time flows like fucking honey. And it's just like the easiest, you start with like fucking twice as much vacation time, and you can get even more down the road, and they have like as much or more mandatory vacation times from federal on down, and they get fucking maternity leave that's like 10 times better than what we do, and paternity leave all the same. It's like it's like a fucking like wildly different 25 to okay, well one's saying 25, one's saying 33 days a year. Standard.
Bro, I couldn't even imagine taking 33 days off in a fucking year. Holy shit. That's a lot of time. How many days is that in the run of a month? We just divide it by what? It's like
you got 12 months. You're taking almost two extra days off a month, not including weekends.
Not including the days you already have off.
So you could almost do 3-day weekends every week if you wanted to, if you just slotted it right. If you wanted to spread it out like that.
That's like out of 12 months, you get a month.
Yes.
An entire month.
Yes.
So you're only working 11 months, and then you might work, 5 days a week. Maybe you'll have the odd 7-day a week. I don't know that's a lot of time off, man. Hey, bro. All the power to them if they're getting paid for it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's just it, right?
Get it.
Sick days, more sick days, more everything. And then over here, it's like
you're just like, I want a sick day.
It's like you're sick. Too bad. Come to work. Infect the rest of the workforce. It doesn't matter. You're a slave.
Get fired.
Or get fired.
Oh, you can't come in? Oh, you got COVID?
You're fired. What's that? You can't work a 60-hour week? Too bad. Fired. You're fired. It's the mentality of North American like business and employment is so fucking toxic and archaic and shit that it's beyond measure, and is exactly why, even though this year I'm going to make like probably 20 grand less than I did last year, not COVID notwithstanding, I couldn't fucking care less. There is no money in the world short of me being homeless that I'm going to go to work to have somebody who I'm probably more intelligent than tell me when I can take time, how to do my job, and how to live my life. It's just not going to happen.
I'll never do it again.
It's literally not going to happen.
No.
If I can avoid it, and thank God my community continues to perpetuate my ability to do so, I will literally never go back to that shit if I can avoid it. It's nuts. It's fucking crazy, and I hope we eventually learn. It boggles the mind. It's like we came from Europe originally. Europe has already figured all this shit out, like I don't know, fucking 50 years ago. But we are doomed to repeat the same mistakes for no reason. Well, there is a reason. The reason is that it allows our companies to make even more money at the top. That's why it happens. Because it makes a handful of people at the top of the food chain more money by slave labor. That's basically all it is.
The only negative implication that I really see, besides the economy, obviously, I mean, people are going to spend their money one way or another, right? So, the money's going to go out some way. Hopefully the money that people are saving from being at home that they'll do to improve their, their own
if they're lucky enough to have work that has continued this whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, even after all this is done, Yeah. People are going to start, the companies are just going to say, dude, they're going to go, damn, I really don't need to pay $10,000 a month at this brick and mortar.
Stay at home.
You guys have been doing great this whole time. Why am I bringing you to the office? The other negative thing that it is you become the hermit, right? You're at home all the fucking time, and that is
you have to get, which was honestly, so when you were mentioning like less people, less traffic, I think that's more about the location, the value of certain locations will go down, and not necessarily just that people are going to go out less. Because of what you're about to mention, when you're at home all the time, you need to get the fuck out the house. And so I don't think it's going to necessarily tank. It will just change where people go. It will be closer to their home instead of closer to their work. So it will shift. It will certainly shift the value of property around a city dramatically over the course of probably a generation or so. That happens naturally over time anyway, but it will do it for, this would be a different reason than it would be normally. But you have to get out of the house. It's the number one thing you'll hear somebody say when you work from home and you're self-employed, is that other than the number one thing being how to keep yourself motivated to keep doing work if you're in the gig economy and you're working for yourself, it's the fact that your work and recreation and home life, it's all in the same place, and that takes its toll in different ways, and you have to get out of the house and make time to get out of the house.
Yep.
Can't do that right now, but in general, that's kind of what's going on. But yeah, it's a wild time out there.